Okay, welcome back to My Teacher Fried My Brains by Bruce Colville. The last time you were here with me, we were on chapter 6, and Duncan was called into the office, the principal's office, the man catcher, Mr. Ketchum. And Mr. Ketchum is talking to Duncan about Honey coming in and speaking with him, Honey Flint, who I didn't trust in the first place. And he's saying, did you speak to Honey Flint? And he's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, well, I need you to stop making up stories to reporters. And Duncan says, it's not a cockamamie story. Does this look cockamamie to you? And he pulls out his hand, which had a glove on it, but now the glove is all messed up. And it's just his what? His purple hand, which was the thing that he was trying to hide from the day before when he stayed inside of that garbage bin. So he stayed in a garbage bin. He hit his hand with this glove. The glove comes off. So after all of that hiding and glove putting, wearing on business, he still gets caught by the principal for having pulled the fire alarm. Now the mom is in the office. Policemen are in the office. The firemen are in the office. They're all lecturing him. He's just catching it. And he's having a bad day. Finally gets home. No, he didn't get home. He started walking, and who did he see but Susan and Stacy, who was probably Stacy Benoit. I think I said Benoit the last time. It was Stacy Benoit and Mike Foran. And Mike Foran has a smart mouth and says it's a stupid, mad, false alarmer, which just makes our guy Duncan upset. And he pops him right in the nose for it because he's had a day. He's got no self-control whatsoever. He's angry, and that's what he does. He just hits people. He just yells. He goes home. He gets in his bed, and he's just thinking to himself, why was I even born? Because he feels like his life is just always one problem after the next. He just can't catch a break. I don't know about you, but it seems like the more things he does and the more upset he gets, the more crazy things he does. He needs to just chill. That's all I can say. Duncan, you need to just chill, stay calm, go to class, listen to the teacher, do your work, try to get home without anything, listening to people say things to you. Just ignore them, Duncan. Try to just get home. All right. So, chapter 7 is Andromeda Jones. Now, I know who Andromeda Jones is. We found out that was his teacher, his science teacher, who he may think may be an alien. So let's see if chapter 7 tells us if Andromeda Jones is in fact an alien. Even though I went to school every day, I didn't see the inside of a classroom again until the middle of the next week. That was because I had to sit in the man catcher's office for the next 5 days. The teacher sent down work for me, but I didn't understand it, so I don't know what the point was. On Wednesday, Mr. Ketchum decided he had had enough of me and said I could start going to class again, like it was a big gift or something. He personally delivered me. I was hoping we would go during first period so I could go home to home economics. I didn't hate the class as much as I had expected to. And I really liked Miss Carpoo, since she was a little goofy and made funny mistakes. I think she liked me too, which was a nice change from most teachers, I want to tell you. As things worked out, I had to wait until second period, because first period, the man catcher was busy bawling out Orville Plummer. I thought this was pretty funny, only I didn't laugh about it because if Orville had heard me, he would have plugged me good later. Ready for your grand return to society, Mr. Dougal? Asked the man catcher when he was done with Orville. I nodded. The man catcher nodded back and gestured toward the door. I went out first. When we got to science class, the teacher, Andromeda Jones, was getting ready to do a demonstration of static electricity. "Now, class, I need a volunteer," she was saying as we walked in. I had no intention of volunteering. After all, Miss Jones was one of the new people to come on staff since last year, which meant that she was a prime candidate for being the alien. So, who knew what that machine was really for? Besides, I thought the way she dressed was silly. She wore a lot of that safari stuff. You know what I mean, khaki clothes with more pockets than an 8th grader has zits. I had heard a rumor that she claimed she dressed that way because teaching junior high was more dangerous than making a trek through the jungle, but I don't know if that was true or not. Anyway, after about 20 seconds went by without anyone volunteering, the man catcher pushed me forward. "Duncan will be glad to participate in your demonstration, Mr. Jones," he said cheerfully. "Not me, no way!" The man catcher leaned down next to me and whispered, "Duncan, you haven't begun to learn how unpleasant I can be. Unless you want to spend the next 5 days in my office learning a new definition of misery, get up there and participate in this experiment." I sighed and walked to the front of the room. People started to giggle and snicker, which only made things worse. I started to blush. It's just as well the man catcher was there. Otherwise, I probably would have bopped someone. "Listen up, everyone," said Miss Jones. "The purpose of this demonstration is to give you an idea of how free-flowing electricity can affect things." She motioned to a black kid sitting in the second row and said, "Marcus, I want you to crank the generator." Marcus smiled. "Sure thing, Miss Jones." I wasn't surprised that Marcus was smiling. One night last spring, my father had gotten drunk and done some things that were pretty mean. I was still in a bad mood when I came to school the next day, and when Marcus had said something to me that I didn't like, I knocked him down and jumped on his lunch pail. So, of course, he was happy to crank the generator for Miss Jones. Once Marcus was in place, Miss Jones put a huge helmet over my head. It was made of clear material with a couple of jagged lightning bolts painted on the front. Lumpy knobs extended from the sides and the top. Oh, wait, you guys. You remember I told you the beginning of the story before chapter 1, how the kid's got this helmet on his head? Turns out that's it. That's the helmet. Okay, moving on. Once the helmet was in place, Mr. Jones told Marcus to start cranking. My scalp began to tingle. My hair started to move as if a slight breeze were blowing through it. Within a few seconds, everybody was laughing like crazy. I suppose I did look pretty funny with my eyes wide and my hair standing straight up. Funny or not, I hate it when people laugh at me. I was so mad I wanted to bop someone. Only I couldn't because the man catcher was right there. So I held what I was feeling inside. But I had it. Forget trying to save the world. For all I cared, the aliens could come and take everyone away. Suddenly I stopped thinking about people laughing at me. Something else was going on. Something weird. The inside of my head was starting to tingle. I felt like I had ants walking around inside my skull. "All right, Marcus," said Miss Jones. "That's enough." Marcus gave the machine an extra crank or two for good measure. "Marcus," snapped Miss Jones, "I want you to stop now." Looking like someone had just stolen his candy, Marcus stopped cranking. I promised myself I would bop him as soon as I got a chance. The class was still laughing. My cheeks were burning as I headed for my seat. I sat down and tried to listen, but my head was still tingling from the demonstration. I don't think they should be allowed to do things like that to kids. After school, I had an idea. That was kind of neat, since it didn't happen all that often. I decided I would go talk to Mrs. Schwartz over at the elementary school. Since the alien had put her in a force field last spring, she might believe me when I told her about what I had found in the dumpster. On the way, I saw a bunch of kids from the 7th grade standing in front of Siegel's Pharmacy. They were talking and muttering, but when they spotted me, they began to hoot and holler. Susan Simmons stepped out of the group and walked over to where I was standing. She poked her finger into my chest and said, "I knew you were a creep, Duncan, but even I never thought you would sink this low. I've met earthworms that I respect more than you." I looked at her in shock. Now what had I done?